The Lunaverse. Tales of the Lunaverse, Episode 2, In the Heat in the Moment by RainbowDoubleDash. Episode 6, In the Heat in the Moment. Trixie had wings. She was a princess, of course, she had wings. She couldn't make much use of them, though, having been locked in a tower that overlooked the countryside, guarded by an Ursa Minor.
Princess Trixie never escaped tower.
A talking Ursa Minor. There wasn't much in the tower, just a bed. A surprisingly large, well-outfitted, and clean bed for being in the middle of a dusty tower. Though the tower, on a second glance, was actually very clean on its interior for being a prison. Indeed, the tower's window was huge, taller than Trixie, and nearly wide enough for her to spread her wings, which she had. She idly wondered why she hadn't just fly away from the Ursa Minor.
Me going to grind your bones to make stew. Make me fat happy.
Hey, ugly! A call came. Princess Trixie rushed to her window, looking out, either jumping out or putting her wings to use, and saw atop the hillside two figures. The first was the jasmine-coated Pegasus, whom she knew was Raindrops, of Clan Drops, barbarian queen, clad in sturdy armor, and with a mighty sword slung over her back. Though she drew it, it planted its end in the earth and pointed at the Ursa Minor. Let the princess go! Yeah! The second figure, a lavender unicorn dressed in clothes and wielding a staff of a mighty archmage, Twilight, of the House Starlight, Sorcerer Supreme. Let her go, or else! Ursa Minor guffawed, stumbling forward.
Puny little ponies, let me crush your bones to make my ah!
The last came as Twilight let loose a mighty fireball spell that collided with the Ursa's face. Stumbled backwards, injured and angry, but not felled by any means. That was why Raindrops was already surging forwards towards the air, sword swinging hard enough to send the Ursa falling backwards onto its rear. It tried getting up, but Twilight and Raindrops were both on it in moments, bucking and punching and trampling it under hoof, such that a cloud of dust rose up. When it cleared, the Ursa Minor had spirals for eyes, and singing birds flying in a halo around its head. You saved me! Princess Trixie exclaimed, with wings spread wide, as Raindrops and Twilight both entered the tower. Somehow, the how didn't matter very much. Yeah, we have! Raindrops exclaimed, as she dusted off her hose. It was easy! Almost too easy, Twilight noted thoughtfully, as she eyed Trixie. How do we know that this isn't a trap? Trixie was on her large, spacious bed. Her princess gown was suddenly missing, but her crown and stockings. You can see that I have no weapons, she noted. Twilight and Raindrops were upon her. Then, Raindrops on her right and Twilight on her left. Then I can see no reason why we can't collect our reward now. Twilight breathed as she planted a kiss on Trixie's lips, then another, and a third, light, soft thing that sent tickles down Trixie's spine. Then Raindrops took her face with both hooves, turning her to face her, and placed her lips onto Trixie's in a deep, passionate kiss that sent its salt straight to her nethers. When it ended, Raindrops smiled, then shifted, Twilight moving well, until the three were in an ideal position for the two heroes to collect their reward. It gave Trixie a reward of their own. Give me 50, Raindrops ordered, then keep going. Princess Trixie obeyed, closing her eyes as she got to work. Her hind hooves, meanwhile, twitched with each stroke of Twilight's hoof, the application of her magic between her hind legs. Before she knew it, she had shifted, rolling onto her barrel, one front leg wrapped tightly around her pillows, holding it close to her, while her other, of its own accord, continued to simulate closer, closer, and closer to relief at long last, and Trixie exclaimed at once in exultation and horror what she was doing, what was happening actually, what had finished happening. Despite her cry, however, she was frozen in place, her hoof still betwixt her nethers, her horn glowing as it still, despite her best efforts to get it to stop, massaged her sensitive areas with a gentle application of telekinesis, bringing her down as slowly, agonizingly as possible. When everything was finished, she was a little more than a blue pony, a twitching pony lying in her bed, higher than thought possible for several long minutes. This was so much worse than just waking up to her hindquarters having betrayed her while she was asleep. She had been awake this time, conscious of what she was doing. Conscious enough to ride her organism from beginning to end, but not conscious enough to stop herself. Ew! Trixie moaned as he struggled from bed, hobbling towards her bathroom on three legs, not wanting to put the last treacherous hoof on the floor until she had washed it with scalding water. Ew! Gross! Ew! Gross! Ew! 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 Today was the fourth day of her heat, the midpoint of our time of the year. Her hormones were at their strongest, self-control at its most vulnerable state. Scared pockets of disgusting desires that thus far been limited to little more than raids and skirmishes. Today, the war began, as the whole herd of her heat surged forth from her rebellious nethers to her brain, demanding she just give in already, go out and make some falls. Oh, poor Trixie. You are enjoying this, aren't you? Why, yes. Yes, I am. Trixie had finished washing her hoof off to the point it looked like it received a professional hoof shine from the finest hoof shiner in Canterlot. Trixie actually knew who that was, or knew of him anyway. Perfect Gleam. She could imagine him now. He was a sandy-coated Pegasus, she knew. Somewhat on the short side, but not terribly so, with long, supple wings. She saw Perfect Gleam before her, finishing her front hoof off, then moving towards her back legs, beginning to shine with his cloth and custom-made oils imported from far-off Sabrica. You could feel his breath on her hoof. Tongue tracing up as his wing tickled her barrel, his tongue reaching her. "Gah, no!" Trixie cried out, stumbling slightly on the last steps and crashing to the floor. She was sweating again already, nostrils flaring, the heat surging forward. She forced herself not to think about Perfect Gleam and his perfect flank and perfect size for getting behind her, hose on her back, hot breath on her neck as he thrust, while Trixie's hose tried to sneak south and join the trader legions of hormones. She started to whip together, conscious on some small level. She was still lying on the floor in her hallway. Trixie squeezed her eyes tightly shut. Exercise! Think about exercise, Trixie! She forced herself to think of her hose, so that she could hardly cough as she was trotting around. She made her way to the living room. Think about... No, don't think, do. Move the gas! Ha! She danced over to her couch, putting her front hose as she determined with one arm on it, pushing with all her might. Fortunately, her hose slipped as she went tumbling forward, and, since when were her coasters lavender? Trixie landed with her rear hanging over the edge of the couch's arm, fore on Twilight Sparkle's barrel, staring down his life into the region between Twilight's own hind legs. There was a long pause. Trixie, could you... Twilight began to ask from beneath Trixie. Unfortunately, the sudden breath and vibration against her barrel tickled, and her heat was already enhancing such sensations. Trixie flailed as he tried to suppress the laughter. All that ended up doing was causing her to lose her balance and tumble off the side of the couch. Desperately reaching out to try and stop her fall, made her wrap her hose around Twilight's barrel, tear for a few seconds, and drag Twilight to the floor with her. There was a tangle of hooves and manes, its tails, as both mares struggled against each other, trying to stand up and simply tripping over each other. The next thing Trixie knew, she was lying on her back, and Twilight had somehow gotten on top of her, rotating around so their muzzles were touching. Wait, it wasn't just their muzzles, it was their lips. Woof! Trixie and Twilight both exclaimed, doing a much better job of getting away each other this time around. Twilight threw herself in one direction, and Trixie scooted backwards in the other. Both were breathing heavily from their exercise, and the two unicorn ponies stared at each other for a long time, eyes wide in shock. What? Never happened? Twilight asked as the two calmed down. Never happened, Trixie conferred. Honestly, I'm surprised you're even out of bed, Twilight said, as Trixie made the two of them breakfast. Or downstairs. Trixie turned to glare at Twilight, even as she continued to scramble eggs telekinetically. It was already 1 o'clock, and she wanted to make sure she got something to eat before Raindrops showed up at 3. I can go where I want, she said. It's my house. Twilight shrugged. Fair enough. But, I mean, even if I had the whole house to myself, I'm pretty sure I want to keep my coffee confined to... Yeah, shut up! Trixie exclaimed, pressing her hose to her ears. La, can't hear you. Twilight stared. What? She asked. We're both mares here. We're both in heat. Trixie pointed at Twilight, horn glowing as in case there were a field of silence. Twilight blinked at it for a few moments, before her own horn glowed and dispelled it. That was weird. That was rude, she said. So's talking about sex at the breakfast table. Trixie sighed. She decided not to point out that teleporting uninvited to somebody's home was just as rude as well, given she had, in fact, allowed Twilight to stay. Twilight stared at Trixie. Do you? You think that sex is gross, don't you? Trixie made sure to glare at Twilight before turning back to breakfast. Yes, I do. Please try to keep up. Twilight shifted a little as Trixie finished cooking. Levity had a heaping plate in front of Twilight, then set her own down, and Twilight joined her at the table. Twilight stared at her food contemplatively for a few moments. Why? Trixie gagged a little as she thought about exactly why. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, her increased appetite from her heat wasn't ruined. She began tucking her omelet and French toast. It's gross, she insisted. All that sweat, that gyrating in the same place where you go to the bathroom. Ugh! Trixie shivered even as her horn glowed, intent on grabbing some vinegar for her toast. Unfortunately, her magic, aided done by her hormones and mind, ever so briefly thinking about sex, and with Twilight in the room, was thinking about the Starlight family, and a certain member in particular. There was a surge of her magic, and a blue flash. And there, on the kitchen floor, was an illusion of herself, and, mounting her, a white stallion with a blue mane and tail, wearing Boreal Guard armor. Twilight shrieked as she dove away from the illusion of Trixie in shining armor going at it, covering her eyes, but Trixie hardly noticed as her heat continued to swell in her, and the illusionary spell seemed so satisfied. Mouth hanging open, drooling slightly, eyes rolled almost back, even as he was rushed forward and back by shining armor thrusting. Oh, we are going to need to put an M rating on this. There was another surge of magic for Trixie's horn, and sounds were added in, panting, gasping, and slapping, and cries of ecstasy. A lavender flash of magic filled the room, and the illusion of Trixie's shining armor disappeared. Trixie blinked, realized her mouth was open, and she was drooling a little. One hoof at her chest, the other elsewhere. She cried out herself, pulling away, dashing towards her kitchen sink. Twilight peeked out from behind the table, staring at Trixie. Why? She demanded. That was my brother! I didn't mean to! Trixie cried out in response, even as she grabbed a sponge and began to scrub her traitor hoof under hot water. It was her front left. It was always her front left. It was a sinister appendage. Again. I'm sorry. My heat is always the worst on the 4th day. She set her eyes tightly, thinking about hoofball, playing cards, the fact that Raindrops was coming by later, that they might go out and exercise more. Anything but what her body wanted to think about. Trixie finished scouring her hoof. Sorry, slightly, she turned back around, eyeing her breakfast. Suddenly, her appetite. No, actually, on second thought, she was still hungry, despite what she had just seen. What she had just almost done. She went back over to the table and sat down, staring at her meal for a few seconds. As Twilight cautiously sat back down, too. I hate this, Trixie said at length, but today's the worst day. Things will only get better from here. Trixie stole back to her omelet. Stars, I wish I had some rugumate this year. Rugumate? Twilight said, her face scratching a little. Oh, I remember that stuff. It was mentioned in Equestrian Nightly. Wonder drug, Trixie said. Made last year so much easier. Twilight grimaced. It, wasn't an EN because of the drug itself. It was in because the company that made it went out of business. Twilight took a bite out of her own omelet. My father called it too. They sank away too much money into Rugumate, and then their sales were terrible because no pony, well, practically no pony, cares enough about her heat to want to prevent it. Trixie stared at Twilight before extending it from the taro. Un momento, s'il vous plaît, she said. Twilight watched as Trixie walked over to one of the walls in her kitchen. Trixie? I don't speak. Bang! Crash! Thump! It's not fair, Trixie said about 10 minutes later, after the world had stopped spinning. There was an ice pack on her head, just below her horn, as she laid her on a couch in her living room, staring at the ceiling. Her head was wrapped in a lavender aura. I just wanted to skip my heat, that's all. It's not asking much. Twilight was staring over at one of her spell books as her horn stopped glowing. Okay, no brain damage, she said, before looking back to Trixie. Trixie, you're a mare. You're going to heat. Get over it. Trixie stared at Twilight. You have terrible bedside manners. Twilight shook her head. All I'm hearing is why. There are ponies across Equestria who have it so much worse than you. He put a hoof in Trixie's mouth before she could speak. And before you say anything, no, I'm not including me in that! Trixie removed her hoof and Twilight sighed. I know, okay, she said. But right now, this is my problem, and it sucks! Well, you've got two options, Twilight responded. One, you could keep complaining and suffering. Or two, you could get over it and just start dealing with the problem the way every pony else does in Equestria. Trixie considered before rolling on the couch, burying her face in her back, so she wouldn't have to look at Twilight. You sound just like Luna, she moaned. Twilight sighed. If I do, she said, it's only because Luna doesn't want you to go through the rest of your adult life suffering. She shook her head. Look, Trixie, your heat seems to be heavy, way heavier than mine, but denying it is only making things worse. Yes, it's your body and your choice, but it's also your choice if you want to drink arsenic. I try to stop you from doing that. I'm going my way to try to stop you from making you suffer too. Trixie felt a hoof on her shoulder. She shivered from the touch, even more so than when she felt Twilight leaning down towards her. You don't have to suffer, she said in a low, sultry voice, as her mouth gently closed around one of Trixie's ears, tugging it a little. Trixie's breath hitched as her hoof traveled down across her body, sneaking towards her nethers. We're two mares in heat, and we can help each other. Uh, maybe, Trixie breathed as she leaned into Twilight's soft, nippling ear, turning around on the couch. Yes, Twilight, help me. Trixie realized what she was saying. She started her horn glowing and realized there were two Twilights. One prepared to do things to her, and one staring. Gah! Trixie cried out, hitting her horn with her own hoof, causing the illusionary Twilight to disappear. The real Twilight's eyes were wide, her mouth open a little, noticeably dry. Trixie stared. Okay, how much of that was real? She demanded. Twilight blinked, shaking her head a little and licking her lips. She said, about up to me putting my hoof on your shoulder. I thought I was just being friendly. Trixie shivered. You were. She insisted. It's just lift my heat. And Twilight stared at Trixie. Trixie, what? Is it normal for you to accidentally be summoning up illusions like this when in heat? Trixie remembered 2 years ago. Her bedroom at Candlelight. Luna sticking her head in to see if Trixie was all right. In the uncomfortably nonchalant way she had reacted to seeing Trixie's magic had conjured up was had been in no small part inspired by the recent trip to Calvella, meeting Princess Cadenza and her retinue of loyal honor guards. Yes, she said. At least on the fourth day, yeah. Twilight stared a moment. Well, she said, I'm, that note left by your friend. Raindrops, was it? Yeah. She says she'd be by 3, and it's already 1:30, and I'm just going to, Twilight's horn glowed purple. There was a pop, and she was gone. Lady Trixie, the blue unicorn, realized, alone in the house, with no pony to bother her, no pony to see her, and no pony to know she gave in just as once and exercise! Trixie cried out. Trixie answered her door, sweating profusely, breathing heavily. Raindrop stared, blushing, wings stretching out on her own accord. Exercise! Trixie insisted. She danced out the door, prancing in place to keep her muscles working. I rearranged my living room, my bedroom, my office, and then I did it again, and then I did it again. I ran in circles around my backyard, grabbed a quick bite to eat because I didn't get to finish breakfast, and with like the blood boost trauma, I think I'm going to be avoiding carrots until this is all over, and sorry, Carrot Top, if you can hear me! Oh, God. Raindrops could stare at Trixie. Okay, she said after a moment. Let's get going then. Let's race you! Trixie shot off at full speed. In a few moments, she came back. I forgot how to get there. Raindrop stared at her a few moments before chuckling slightly, trying out to Trixie putting one wing on her back. Come on, she said, leading the way. So, wait. Raindrop says the two jogged at a brisk pace through Whitetail Wood to Raindrop's crane. You've been getting visits from Twilight Sparkle. You didn't tell anybody? I'm telling you now, Trixie insisted. She kept running in front of Raindrops, then falling back, realizing she was staring at her friend's flank and dancing forward again.
It's not a secret or anything. I just, well, there were just quick things, and only for the past few days until last night when she stayed over on the couch.
Trixie added quickly. Raindrops chuckled. I didn't think you meant stayed over the other way. Don't worry, she insisted.
How is she? Fine, basically. She had some kind of plan to expose me as a fraud or something. I don't know. But then I was in heat, and she didn't want to do anything. Right now, she's in heat too. Lucky nag. Barely even shows it, though.
Raindrops considered. So, should we get the gang together, try to capture her, or... Trixie thought for a moment, but shook her head.
She can teleport crazy good,
She said,
and she'll have to want to turn herself in.
Bet Lily could do it.
Maybe. But that's like grabbing a sledgehammer to deal with the problem. Twilight basically seems harmless. I'd rather she choose to turn herself in, and maybe if she will, she just sticks around.
Raindrops nodded to logic before eyeing Trixie with green.
So, anything else interesting? Maybe dreams?
Trixie blinked. There was a surge of magic from her horn. Raindrops stared as she found herself looking at an illusion of herself in barbarian gear. Twilight sparkled some kind of sorceress in an alcorn, Trixie. Of greatest interest they were in was the position they were in.
Go!
Trixie exclaimed, leaping to her illusion and bucking around until it was dispelled in blue mist. Though it was too late. Raindrops was blushing again. Her wings had stood erect of their own accord. Trixie's own face was flushed red as well.
I'm sorry! She exclaimed. I'm sorry. Magic, kind of wild right now.
Raindrops remained still only for a moment, before shaking her head, purposely tucking her wings away.
It was just a dream, she said. Though, if your magic's running that wild, I think we'll be working on that first. Right,
Trixie said, as the two resumed their jog. Trixie couldn't help but notice it was a bit faster now. Within minutes, the two had arrived at Raindrops' clearing, set to work, doing a quick lap around its edge before stretching. Trixie keeping her eyes closed tightly the entire time, so not to be leering at Raindrops, and then Raindrops setting to work, guiding Trixie to exhaust her magic by doing telekinetic things with rocks again, and in a hurry get to work exercising. She didn't notice the blood had not entirely left Raindrops' face. She started with the right-left swings.
Left, right.
She was holding it aloft, but her body weight in stones as she swung her head side to side in time with her own swinging, biting her lip as she worked. Raindrops was standing next to her, counting at her swings.
Left, right.
This wouldn't be ordinarily hard, but given the exercise she was already doing earlier in the day, their jogging to Whitetail, the fact that her magic emphatically wanted to be conjuring other things right now, she was already working up a sweat just for telekinesis.
Left, right.
She slowly lowered herself onto her barrel, not wanting the extra effort standing right now. Raindrops didn't say anything, just sitting down next to her, a right ring draping over Trixie's back, encouragement as she kept out her swings.
I know you could at least do 50,
she told Trixie between one swing.
Easy for you to say,
Trixie breathed as she closed her eyes, head still swinging back and forth in time with her telekinesis.
I've already been working, and then I'm still recovering from yesterday.
Raindrops gave a slight squeeze with her wing.
Well, stop if you think you need to. Remember, you don't want to hurt yourself.
Trixie responded. She couldn't stop now. Not now that Raindrops had said she was sure she could get 50 swings in. According to Raindrops, she was already halfway there. 28 swings and counting. She did begin to slow down when she reached 37, though. Every unicorn used telekinesis, but usually only for small, lightweight things. Certainly not their own body weight, and rarely spread out multiple objects, either. Her rate of swinging slowed down considerably past 40.
Left 41, right 42, left 43, right 44, left 45.
She held it there, breathing a few times. Eyes closed, breathing heavily.
Okay, 46, 47, 48.
She stopped again, still breathing heavily, eyes shut.
Nearly there,
Raindrops said softly, barely a whisper, actually. Again, squeezing Trixie with her wing. But this time her grip didn't loosen. Trixie breathed in and out a few times, the rocks in her head swinging to her left, towards Raindrops.
40,
she began, found herself unable to speak, due to her lips having touched something quite suddenly. Something warm and inviting. Trixie was vaguely around the sound of a bunch of rocks hitting the ground as her telekinesis ended, but didn't acknowledge as he leaned forward into the soft, warm, and inviting kiss. Raindrops' wings squeezed tighter for a moment, before she felt Raindrops pushing against her. Surprisingly gently, given who she was doing the pushing, as she felt herself being rolled over onto her back. One hose reached out and closed around Raindrops' neck. A slight moan escaped her mouth, an opening for Raindrops' tongue to evade as the Pegasus' own hose wrapped around Trixie, pulling her close and tight. Trixie's eyes flared open, as she realized quite suddenly that this was not her mind playing tricks on her again, that this was not an illusion. She really was on her back, in the field. It really was Raindrops, one of her closest friends atop her, kissing her, Trixie returning it eagerly. The shock made her stop returning Raindrops' affection. A moment later, Raindrops' own eyes opened, much wider than Trixie's. As she pulled away, Trixie stared.
Oh no,
she said softly.
Oh no, I didn't mean, oh stars, I just took advantage of you, didn't I?
Raindrops, was all Trixie could get out.
It was just a here in the moment, and you were there, and I'm sorry!
Raindrops shouted before flying into a run, wings breathing furiously. By the time Trixie got up, Raindrops was already in the sky, flying away. Trixie stared at her, mouth hanging open.
What just happened?